So my name is Annie Uzar, and I'm the Associate Director of Partner Programs here at Parker Dewey. I'm excited to talk with you all today about programs. What is a funded program? What do we mean when we say programs or partner programs or funded programs? Let's decode it all. And I'm happy to answer your questions along the way as well. I'll do my best to monitor the chat, but we'll also try to keep some time at the end to just have a chat and see if anybody wants to go off mute and have a conversation about programs, or we can, of course, schedule some additional conversations one-on-one down the road. So I want to go ahead and just give you an idea of what to expect during this time together. We're going to talk about, an overview of programs, as well as how to actually launch a program. I really like to dive deep into things and show you what are some of the steps involved and what could different programs look like, depending on your needs and, everybody's specific situation, to the best of our abilities. So for those of you who don't know, a micro internship is a project that involves specific deliverables, right? They generally take about 10 to 40 hours of work to complete, and it can be completed within a few days or even a few weeks, depends on the client's timeline and what they're looking for. These are not high-risk projects requiring students access to sensitive data or systems, but they are typically pretty flexible, right? Most micro internships are remote, so students and recent graduates or career launchers, as we generally call the users on our platform that are completing these projects, they have that flexibility to complete them on their own time within the estimated time frame that the employer needs the work done. And everything is paid. I was talking with a school yesterday, and they hadn't realized that every opportunity on Parker Dewey is paid. We believe that students should be paid for the work that they're contributing to a company, especially, again, at the end of every micro internship, are specific deliverables that a company can use to implement into their business, and the micro intern is compensated for their work on that. All the payment is done by Parker Dewey, which makes it easy for the companies because they don't have to worry about official onboarding or administrative burdens. And it's really great for companies who maybe don't have an official internship program or a large HR team to manage these kinds of things. We're really here to support. We're not a staffing firm, so there's no cost for these companies to go ahead and hire their micro intern for future roles that they might have open, either full-time or, traditional internships that they may have down the road. We love to see it. It's our favorite. And then, of course, for the larger corporations, it's a really great vetting tool, right? So it's kind of like that pre-opportunity for an internship, especially those with competitive programs. It's a way to go ahead and demonstrate what the student can do on a smaller scale before really bringing them on for the larger role. Students are, of course, committed to an NDA. The work belongs to the client. And again, all of those kinds of nitty-gritties we can, of course, talk about if anybody has questions, but that's our general model for micro internships. So at Parker Dewey, we're always interested in the win-win-win, right? But having worked in higher ed and specifically career services myself, and actually our whole partnerships team has, we know that there are many stakeholders, right? That they're trying to juggle factors that are outside of our control, right? So there's limited budget. We need to serve all the students, right? It's kind of hard if you have 5 advisors and you need to serve an entire, college across multiple disciplines. That limited staff piece. And again, we only have so many hours in a day or a week with a lot of different, objectives. So we're going to go ahead and talk about how other schools have implemented micro internship programs to support not only their students, but companies that they would like to connect with, as well as making sure to support those larger scale goals of the colleges and universities that we work with. Continue to put these things here for a little bit of data. Numbers are not always my jam, but again, we love to survey everybody at the end of the experience. We have 95% of students, saying that they want real short-term work experience, right? They want to test out the work at a company. They want to really see what they can do in an organization and see if it's a good fit for them. And they're staying after they have these little tastes within an organization. These organizations are coming to say that the micro interns are doing a great job, right? So these career launchers students are really blowing it out of the water when they're completing this work and impressing the companies who say, wow, I can't believe they did that in just 15 hours. Imagine what they can do if I hire them for more time or an additional internship. As I mentioned before, we like to get some data, right? Everybody tries to survey. We try not to over survey the students and the companies, but we really try to make sure that we're getting the most information possible out of that. And this is where we bring in the NACE career readiness competencies, right? So as you can see, there's an overall trend of students feeling as though they improved in all of these different areas throughout various micro internships. Wanted to break down some of our partnership options. A lot of you already know about our basic no-cost partnership. This is the traditional partnership that we've had for the last, 10 years of Parker Dewey existing. This does not cost you any money. This doesn't cost your institution any money. It's just a way to go ahead and have that relationship with us, have some custom webinars, get your data, and as well as, continue to promote Parker Dewey to your companies and your students as well. Last year, I think it was last year, maybe it's 2 years now. Wow. We implemented Parker Dewey Plus, which is a $2,000 a year subscription to basically have on-demand access to your data. So again, you don't have to wait for that annual data pool that we'll do for the basic members. You're able to access it whenever you'd like. A big question a lot of people have is like, well, is that just for one user at my school? Like, what if my school is a population of 5,000 students versus 50,000 students. Does that cost change? And the answer is no. $2,000 a year for the subscription. We're really here to try to make this accessible and make sure that you're able to have everybody on your team who needs to access this data, the ability to access it with this membership. It also comes with a student ambassador, which is a really great opportunity for maybe somebody on your team to, supervise a student. Maybe they're craving some supervisory experience, but you're not able to build in that into their role, right? And then conversely, be able to give the student an opportunity to make a little money, engage their peers, engage employers, gain some professional skills, all within that $2,000 subscription. And then we've got our programs, which we're going to focus a lot on today. So most programs start at $10,000, and that's just to be able to support, a solid number of students, right? So you get everything with the Parker Dewey Plus subscription, as well as then funding opportunities for students or companies of your choosing. We can talk about kind of how that all kind of falls in these next few minutes here and the different examples, but that's basically the difference between each of the membership levels. And again, the program piece covers funding these projects so that the employers are not paying for the project, the funding entity, the school, a grant, some sort of other, money that may be coming in is then funding those opportunities as well as the subscription. So this is a bit of what to expect with a Parker Dewey Plus membership. So this, of course, again, is for those who are paying for the subscription as well as those who have a funded program with us. You're able to get that on-demand data access. Not only it's just from saying, okay, what students have made accounts? What are those accounts looking like? Have they added their resume, right? I just had that student in my office yesterday and they promised me they'd upload their resume. I can look at that, right? You're able to see the data from the feedback. You're able to see what feedback employers have left, what feedback students have left, who's applying to what project. All of that information is available at your fingertips. And we have this broken out too for programs. So if you are, having a funded program, you'll be able to see the differences between the projects that fall under that funded program or other ones that your students at your institution might just be completing otherwise, right? Because they're incredible and they're doing stuff we don't always even know about. So, and as you know, we launched in November of 2022 with the goal of providing a diverse group of students with micro internships. We've had programs going for a while now. We've got various programs with all different goals that they might have that they would like their programs to support, right? So again, programs are where you can have opportunities exclusively for your students to work with organizations of your choosing. It could be a list of 20 organizations that you have great relationships with and want to reward. It could be people who you haven't had great relationships with and you want to use this as an opportunity to connect with them. It could be a way to connect with new organizations and say, hey, can you just open it up to your network and see what companies might be interested? Um, we see the most success when there's all of the above, right? That engagement from the school to employers who already know who you are really speaks volumes and brings great success to programs. Now, I mentioned that the $10,000 or however much you have for a program includes the annual subscription to access the data, because if you're funding projects, we want you to be able to see the information about them. It goes to paying the students, guaranteed for the students that you want it to be. If you say, well, we want it to be just for undergraduate students, cool. That's great. We want it to be for students who have all visited our office. Great. And then we go ahead into what's the program management, right? So we here at Parker Dewey, we're here to, again, make sure the students are getting paid, make sure the projects are looking great. You know, we look at every project to make sure that it's a good opportunity for your students, making sure that it fits your goals. If a program is only for business students, we want to make sure that the projects being posted are posted with that in mind. For example, we support you with getting marketing materials to promote the program to students or employers, as well again as reviewing the data with you and making sure that all of that is in line with what you need. So what is a Parker Dewey Partner Program? So these are paid micro internships posted exclusively for your students, students of your choosing, to work on behalf of organizations of your choice. So you decide who the students or organizations are who are eligible to participate. You give us those guardrails and we work within them and support you. Funding for the program is provided by the partner, i.e. you, wherever that might be coming from. We'll talk about all the different funding sources that we've seen. So why do schools or organizations do this? Why do you have a funded program? Well, support institutional initiatives, right? So I'm sure your school says, well, we need to make sure that every opportunity has experiential learning. Every student has experiential learning opportunities. But maybe you're in an area that doesn't provide opportunities for a lot of your majors. These are resumeable experiences that students can reasonably access remotely to be able to support those goals and really support everybody who you're trying to connect with. So how long have we been doing this? Our earliest program partners are the Kansas Micro Internship Program as well as Swarthmore. So Kansas is actually a whole statewide program funded through a couple different entities, the Kansas Board of Regents, Strata Foundation, I'll probably be forgetting one, and then Swarthmore College supporting their alumni as well as to connect them with their current students. So there are dozens of different education institutions and training providers, nonprofit organizations who support micro-internship programs, as well as different organizations who are supporting the companies. So I mentioned the Kansas program is not just supported by a school, it's supported by a larger entity. And then, of course, we've got corporations, we've got businesses that are running their own programs as well. Here's just one example. I wanted to deep dive a little bit into the Kansas program. You can go ahead and see some numbers here. We have been able to impact thousands of students and hundreds of employers through this program over the last few years, and really, again, gaining opportunities that these students might not have otherwise had, helping companies get the support they might not have otherwise had. A big goal of this program was to prevent brain drain in the state and support the organizations and students across the state. I mentioned Swarthmore College before. This program is very funnily named SWATworks. That's where, again, part of you creating a program, you can name it within reason, whatever you want. And a goal of their program was to connect students with projects that alumni are conducting. And we've been able to run that one. This is a seasonal program that's run typically in the winter break session for the last few years. Here are just some quotes from some of our partners who hosted programs. And I want you to think about these questions. and items before launching a program. And we're happy to have these conversations with you all as well. But if you step away from this call today and say, okay, what are some of my next steps? I'd encourage you to review these questions. So, excuse me, what students are you trying to support? What organizations would you want students to work with? What institutional stakeholders would you engage to initiate this program, right? Are there certain departments, certain faculty that you might like to connect with and that you think would be great partners for you to really build this program with? And then when do you want this to happen, right? What's your desired timeline to launch a program? We're at a really interesting time right now with fiscal year happening. So we see a lot of use or lose funds that people say, well, we need to have this written out and, get the money applied to a program quickly. And here at Parker Dewey, like I said, everybody on our partnerships team has formerly worked at higher education institutions, specifically in career services, and we understand that there can be a lot of red tape, and you say, how long does this take? And we can really get a program up and running in just a couple of days. Um, so whatever timeline that you might need, we're here to support it. We have some people say, well, we'll talk to you in a year because that's when we can talk again. And we say, great, that's awesome. Or we have others that say, could you get me that paperwork in a week? Because we really need to get that in the eyes of leadership. And we're here to support all of those goals. Think about why you want to launch a program, right? So I'm sure we've all been given those directives that just say, well, just do it to do it. Well, but why? Why are we here? What are we doing? What KPIs do you want to see or that you're going to be paying attention to or you're being held accountable for in this program? Is it purely number of opportunities? Are we trying to increase student confidence in certain competencies, right? And then how? How is this going to be possible? What funding sources might be available to support this program? Maybe you have received some grant funds or an alumni donation or a corporate sponsorship. In addition, we have some exciting news of a possible funding opportunity for everybody here today to apply for if you're interested. I'm going to talk about the RFP when we get towards the end. So when you're thinking about the students or organizations that you're trying to support, I want you to really think about, are they from super specific backgrounds, underrepresented backgrounds, specific academic programs? Do we want to just support student athletes? We've got a whole program that's alumni funded for University of Michigan football. We've got programs that are for just a business school. Again, it depends on what your goals are and what the funding entity wants to support, right? And then what organizations do you want the students to work with? Do you want them to work with only local organizations? Do you want them to work with only nonprofits, government agencies, maybe startups, companies within a targeted industry? You say, well, we're really trying to support our students in finance right now. Sorry, finance just came into my head from business. So we want to really work on companies that are within that field, not just maybe a project that's finance related, but that the company is also in that field. So consider thinking about what are these options that you want to look at? Are there anybody specific that you'd like to support? Or are your goals broad? And you say, well, we just want to help any of our students, any of our alumni to get some paid opportunities and really add to their resume and get some experience going. I'm teased University of Michigan football just now. This is a program that we're actually entering the third year of this program. It's a 6-week micro internship that is hosted by venture capital firms and is funded by alumni. So the program started with just 11 players the first year. It grew to about, I think it was 15 last year, and this year it's going to be 20. So it's really exciting to see the continued growth of the program. Some of the students have come back to talk about their experience previously, and we're really excited to see this one come back again and see what the students are able to do and learn from this. And we talk about timing, right? So they knew, well, when's the right time of year for these specific students to be able to work on a project? And it's summer just before football camp starts, right? So that's where they've timed it. So thinking about the student population that you're looking to support and what time of year is best for them. We talked about stakeholders, right? So what stakeholders are you going to engage with to initiate the program? Maybe faculty are your best tool to talk with, right? Maybe they're the ones who you really want to connect with about promoting the program with their students or maybe with their employer networks. Maybe you want it to be something that is connected to a class in some way. Maybe you want to work with the small business community, right? Engage your local chambers of commerce. Maybe you want to work with specifically nonprofits or government agencies. Maybe you want to connect with alumni, right? So a big goal could be, well, we want to increase alumni engagement. This is one way to do it. And alumni love giving back. So it's a really great population to engage as the employers. And then, of course, corporate sponsors and partners. So what corporate partners do you already have or that you're hoping to build relationships with? Let's talk about timing. So there's basically two different schools for the timing of a program. There's ongoing, which is just until funding is exhausted. Hey, we have these funds and we don't have a timeline when they need to be utilized by. We just want to have them there and ready for whenever students and companies are engaging. Great. And then there's the other option I mentioned, Swarthmore, University of Delaware is another one that does school breaks. So focusing on a J term or winter break, spring break. It's a little tight, but it can happen. Summer breaks. It's really great to go ahead and have these again, if it works for your institution, if you think it works for your student population, as well as the employers, because it makes it easier to balance the supply and demand of the projects. And be able to say, well, they need to be posted by this day, students selected by this day, and done by a certain day as well. And of course, with both of these, we can always roll over funds for however long you might need. I spoke with a school the other day that they've had some staff turnover and they're not able to focus on their program right now. And I said, that's fine. We'll hold on to these, and reconnect in the fall semester and see where your staffing's at and see if you'd like to re-engage then. The funds are still here for your students. And there's oftentimes more likelihood for the company to then want to post opportunities that they're funding themselves if they're in between these school breaks, right? So you say, well, I just participated in the winter, but I really want somebody for the summer. Cool, that's really great. The school's not funding program or that opportunity right now. Would you like to self-fund it? And you can still work with that same student if you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and walk through some of these case studies here, not talk too much about them because I really want to get to the RFP, and I know I can be wordy. I'm so sorry, everybody. But everybody will be sent this PowerPoint with these case studies as well as a couple of others that are highlighted in here, and you'll be able to dive in and look at them to see, which ones might match what you're trying to do. Or if none of this matches and you say, wow, I want to do something completely different. Cool, let's talk about it. I love trying new things. And again, starting to think about those goals, right? So what are the goals for a program that you might want to launch? These are outcomes that are self-reported by the students. Again, really seeing where they've gained confidence in these different areas throughout a micro internship. And again, this is all data that you'd have access to from your Parker Dewey Plus dashboard. Thinking about those funding sources, again, institutional funding that might be coming, any grant funding that you might be applying for or getting, as well as those corporate partnerships. And again, a lot of people say, oh, it's that time of year, I've got use or lose budget. I need to get this out of my budget line and into a source. And we can do that and then talk all of those specifics afterwards. Again, we're really just here to support you and help you figure out what would be best for your students and your goals in supporting the employers, all that jazz. So this is a sample breakdown of what those costs can look like. And again, this varies based on the total cost that you have to be able to commit to the program, how many projects you would like to support, students that you would like to support, the rate of pay. These models are all based off of paying students about $20 an hour. We really try to make sure that students are compensated fairly according to NACE standards, which is that $20 to $25 an hour range. And then, of course, it includes the program management fee, which includes the Parker Dewey Plus data dashboard access, as well as our program management support, those day-to-day kind of logistical things, approving projects, supporting your employers, supporting you, all of that stuff. Oh, and of course, supporting the students, obviously. So this kind of gives you a breakdown of what that could look like. And again, we're happy to prepare specific options based off of, well, I have $11,000. Okay, cool. Like we can work on that. We can figure out everybody's specific situations, and this is a sample. So what is program management? What does that look like? Again, these next few slides will break down all of these different things, and I want to make sure we have time for the RFP. So again, making customized micro internship portals, um, really making that landing page work for you, put all the information that you want out there about the program, who's eligible, what the timeline is, all of those details. We like to make sure that it's really clear for the employers and students participating. Then we have the marketing collateral. A lot of you hopefully are already familiar with our marketing toolkits that we have available for everybody, but we're able to then hopefully make sure that we can customize these resources with you to really make them highlight your program appropriately and for your needs. And of course, we've got that day-to-day administration, monitoring survey data, sending out reminders to the employers based on the program. All of those kinds of things we're here to do to take that off your plate. Have that access to the program dashboard I mentioned. And then, of course, the impact report from the Parker Dewey Plus dashboard and membership to be able to see the data. And again, a little bit of a visual timeline based on what we all just talked about, right? Determine your goals, who's paying for it, what rules do we want? Let's get started, and then really see the results of all of those steps that sound very simple, but can take some time depending on, again, what we're working with, what your needs are, and what your goals are as well. And again, we can get a program going in as little as 1 week or as long as a year, 2 years, 3 years, whatever you might need, we're here to talk about it. And again, more case studies that I will fly through. No. Okay, RFP. Okay, so we have received a grant from a foundation that's focused on initiatives that help improve individuals' earning potential. So we have opened an RFP, submissions open today. So we'll be sharing this link out in our follow-up email from this presentation. And you're able to go ahead and review the information and see if you'd like to apply. There will be 10 schools or organizations that can be selected, and we will have the submission deadline go through the end of July. Mid-August, we'll notify those who have been selected and help you get set up with your program. This funded program will support your Parker Dewey Plus access. It will support 30 micro internships scoped at 15 hours each. Students get $300 upon completion of those projects. And you get to decide who the students are that you'd like to support and which employers you would like to have participate as well. We're really looking for a lot of geographic and institutional type diversity. So I don't want you to be like, well, this is probably only for such and such type of school. No, it's for everybody. We really want everybody who's interested to apply. Again, this is no cost for you. We got grant funds. We want to use it. This is what it's meant for. You're able to then go ahead and think about these big things. We're really looking for programs that engage students who otherwise wouldn't have had access to paid experiential learning opportunities, as well as those who can engage employers who actively recruit and hire college students and recent graduates. So those are some big pieces that I wanted to highlight. And I want to make sure that we go ahead and look at the web page as well. I think we'll be able to if I switch my tab. Cool. Is everybody able to see the web page? Let me know in the chat if for some reason it's not there. So this is the page for the RFP to go ahead and apply for the Signals Micro Internship Program. Signal stands for Skills Informed Gateway for Networking, Access, Learning, and Success. And you'll see all of the information related to the RFP here. We really tried to keep it simple. We don't want this to take you all day or require a million stakeholders, but do what you got to do for it. We've got program details here about the proposal and what's needed. Again, we're able to most likely support up to 10 institutions who apply. And this has all of the information again for you to be able to, talk with your team about. 'Here's the application form. for the proposal. Again, 2 pages. Go ahead and fill it out and email it to us. We're really excited about this. This is the first time we're able to offer funding from Parker Dewey that we've received to support programs that you get to design. So think about your goals. Who do you want to support? If you are thinking about funding an opportunity from your institution, think about that funding source. If you'd like to apply for the Signals program and complete the RFP by the end of July, of course, please do that. And you're also, of course, always welcome to schedule a specific time with us to discuss how to get started or ask any questions. And I will go ahead and stop talking now. It's been so great getting to share this information with you all. I'm going to end the recording and such and make sure that I'm available for any questions. Those of you who do need to go, thank you so much for your time today. This has been really great. And again, I'll stay back to answer any questions that folks might have.